Hey folks, Mark here. Get my Mad Men theme song up. I'm going to show you some edits real quick. This is what I've started with. So I've cropped out. I'll show you what I started with. Here's my original shot, and I knew that I was going to do square, so I healed a little bit of my shirt off of my arm there. I'll show you. If you look before, you can see a little bit right down here. Did some healing there, and then I've also done some other spot healing, as you can see, right here, here. Other things that just distract from the subject, which is this. So I've also applied my Catherine preset. I think it's 03 is what this one is, I believe. Nope, this is 4 is what I have. This is 3. Both are beautiful. I'm actually going to go with Catherine 3 here. Kind of interesting. One thing that's going on with my Lightroom this morning is my red, green, blue percentages are not changing as I move across my image, which is pretty frustrating because that's how I white balance my image. Whenever I white balance an image, I look through those red, green, blue percentages, and I want them to be within 1% of each other, and so those numbers not moving is kind of a problem for me, so I guess I have to eyeball it over here. What I'll probably do actually is just, I'm going to close Lightroom and then open it right back up, because sometimes that helps. 75% of the time when software is not doing what it's supposed to be doing, just restarting it is so helpful. Yeah. We're going to do this. Oh, there you are, Lightroom. Here we go. Press W and let's see if that fixed it. It didn't. Horrifying. Come on, Adobe. Anyways, I'm just going to deal with it. So I'll eyeball it and see what I want to get up here. I'm going to assume that that's neutral, and let's see what happens. Yeah, it's nice. A little bit too reddy pinky for me, so I'm going to decrease my tint just a bit. There was before, there's my after my Catherine 03 preset there, along with my spot healing. There's before, there's after. So what I do after I get my white balance, sometimes before I apply my preset, I change exposure too. I probably did that as well. It looks like I did. So what I like to do, I always keep this pane open up in my develop pane, because for some reason it helps me to see a smaller thumbnail version of my image. I'm able to notice where my eyes go. So I really love doing that. Some people like to press tab and just work right here, or maybe even here, but I always need this for some reason. There's just something about that, and I think probably the biggest thing is that this simulates social networks and what other people see, right? So other people don't get to see this very large detailed image and all my zooms and details, right? So most people are looking at this. So I want to see what other people are going to see, and I want to notice how quickly my eyes follow into where I want other people's eyes to follow. So I always have this open and I'm looking back and forth. I'm not just looking here, I'm looking here as well. Alright, so some things that I like to do, I like to zoom in on my most highlighted area, and as I'm changing my exposure, I'm also watching this guy up here again, because I want to notice what's happening. There we go. And I'm looking at my histogram as well, but I don't know. I'm just not a histogram guy, but so lately I've just been clicking on the word highlights and using my plus or the word of the edit, and I use plus or minus. That seems to be easier on my fingers because as I'm tweaking my presets, sometimes I just want to use one or two minute adjustments, and that kind of allows me to, it moves in 5 increments, so maybe let's see that, yeah. And then if I want to go to the next thing, I use the right it's the, let's see, the greater than or less than signs. So point to the right and it goes down to shadows. So now I can modify my shadows with my plus or minus, which is nice. And then same thing, there's my whites. Yeah. And blacks. Again, I'm just pressing the plus, the greater than less than to toggle through my options, and then plus or minus there. I'm always looking up here to see what happens with my adjustments. That's just something that helps me personally. You gotta figure out what helps you, of course. Cool. Now I'm on to my tone curves. I visit my tone curves often. After I adjust other things, I'll always come back to tone curves and see what I need to do when I'm adjusting my own presets. I always, to show my before and after, I'm using the, what is this? This is the backslash button. It's right above the return key on a Mac there, and it just, again, toggles through the before and after. I love using that because it gives me just some quick confirmation that I'm doing a good job, right? So this image is obviously better than this image, you know, so that was just right of the camera, you know, that's the goal. So it's the goal of editing. I use it often just to motivate me and help me. I'm also using this up here, so we'll move on here. Switch over, let's see. I'm always using Command Z and Shift Command Z to also give myself confirmation that it was a good choice, right? So every adjustment I make, I am doing Command Z, well, especially the ones in my tone curves. Those are very important. Also with my colors here. What I'm looking for in colors, I'll show you what my preset looks like. But I usually bring down my yellows. See what happens here. So luminance is pretty important in my presets. So notice how very different the images are with yellows. I really despise yellows in a lot of my images. It just really depends on the image. So I'm always just testing things out just to see what is happening, because my eyes are failing, so are yours. So we need to understand that and accept that, actually, too. So whatever part of the image I want it to be more luminant, I'm going to increase the luminance of that color, you know. So I'm seeing some reds, but I might want to decrease my saturation in reds. Sometimes I like to just crank it all the way down just to see what happens, and I'll press Command Z and notice there's a lot of reds in my fingertips. So I mean, that looks a little bit unnatural, but at the same time it's just a little bit too much, so I'm going to bring it down just a smidge. I'm also seeing some oranges and reds up there. Yeah, that's oranges up there. So you can, there's a lot of orange in this image, right? Or at least the colors you see. So let's undo that. Show her. Looks good. My split toning. Split toning is where we get these wondrous colors. Let's see. Might move it over just a bit. And again, I'm just tweaking my presets. These are the ones that I've spent hours and hours and hours doing. I still need to change them, you know. I still need to tweak them. It's important. Okay. Sharpening. If you hold the Option key and move these things, you'll be able to see what sharpening does and what, like, things like radius. So you can see the part, you can see the hair in my arm, and you can start to see the lines. You know, it depends on how much detail you want in this image. That's probably just too much sharpening for me for this type of image. Now with my double exposure on the other hand, I will sharpen the heck. This is nice because it shows you what parts of the image, usually the ones that are focused, so it'll mask out other parts of the image. So whatever's white there is kind of going to be the sharpening part. So notice how it sharpens everything there. Here it's sharpening the subject, which is nice. So before there's after. Yeah. I'm going down. I might do a little post-crop vignette, just a smidge. Always doing Command Z, Shift Command Z. Looks good. That helped it. bring the eye in. I do not do grain usually on this side because I'll be taking it into alien skin in a bit. I have +5 on my dehaze on the preset on Catherine 03, so I'll just go in here and I like to tweak these and I'll move them for a bit and see if it's going to help or not. That's all I'm doing. I'm just using I didn't change anything. Notice the big difference. I mean, it's just wild. Love dehaze sometimes. And there's +5, there's +2. I mean, it's a pretty big difference, you know, so I might want to go up to +7 here. I'll press Command Z to see. You know, I'm looking at, I don't want to lose detail at the same time. I want to create a nice contrast. Obviously, as I'm developing this, I shot this I think with a tilt shift. Yeah, my tilt shift. So, you know, I don't even know what my lens was set on, but you can see the interesting focus there. This part of my hand is focused, and then also further out the end here of my finger. So, kind of an interesting thing. It's not ideal, obviously. Ideal would be all these fingers would kind of maybe be focused, but anyways, okay, I'm good. So now, after I've got all that stuff done, I'm going to right click. I have alien scan again, so I'm going to right click, go to exposure X, and I'm just going to edit a copy of Lightroom adjustments, leave all this stuff. I use a TIFF because that's one step down from RAW. So you'll see exposure open up automatically, and there's my TIFF image now. This is it just created another file. So I will usually just go straight over to grain here, and what I like about alien scan is you can actually okay, good phone. You can actually move to let me turn off my music.
From the golf courses at McGregor Down.
I can actually zoom in and out to that icon mode that I was telling you that I like so much, and I can also zoom in really easily. It's so much better than Lightroom with this zoom. I'm just 2 fingers on my trackpad here, in and out. So anyways, so I go straight to my grain presets, and usually the ones I'm looking at are up here. Add detail to block up shadows, add detail to blown out highlights, add detail to shadows and highlights, or just in shadows. Probably what's going to be happening is the shadows and highlights that I usually do, and then I'll tweak those. I'm going to zoom in and do Command Z. And Command Y, and alien scan actually shows me my before and after. So let's see. I'm going to tweak, and so you can start seeing that detail pop up in, and depending on what type of mood you're trying to create, I mean, it's up to you. And again, so the before and after button is still the same in alien skin. There's my before, there's after, my grain added. And again, I'm always just experimenting just to see what I want here. Seeing if I need shadows or if it's just highlights. Maybe a little bit of shadow. It looks like mostly highlights is what I'm digging. There's before, there's after. I'm going to put a little bit more in my shadows. And if you like, if you do have alien skin, you can obviously use some of the presets if you want. I don't use them all the time. If I do use them, I'm usually bringing down the intensity of them just to see if they can help my image. It's another reason I love alien skin. But anyways, after I'm done, I just press save, and it opens up my image right back into Lightroom, and it's actually created a brand new copy of it, and then I can sit there and there's my TIFF, and there's my RAW file, and I can still edit my original raw file, but it's like I created a kind of finalized copy there, and now I can, this is what I do next, is I go to export, and I have a couple presets, my before and after stuff, and so I have Google Drive. I have it set on 2048 because most of them, that's what it's supposed to be for Facebook. Long edge, resolution 72, 93 quality, and it's going into my Google Drive folder every time, and that way I can pull it up on my phone or my MacBook or my iMac, all from Google Drive very easily, and I can post to Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or what have you. So I do that, exports the file. When I go to my Finder window, if I look in Google Drive, I will see that image right there instantly, and I can pull this up on my phone as well. So that is a from beginning to end edit. See ya.